Okay, there's some basic algebra principles that you really need to know. First thing is when you're adding or subtracting, notice here you have 4 different terms being added together. When you're adding and subtracting, things must be alike. You can only add and subtract when you have what's called like terms. So here the 2x cannot be combined with a 3, it cannot be combined with a 4, it can only be combined with a 3x. 2x's plus 3x gives you a total of 5x's. 3 and 4 are also like terms. When you combine them, it gives you plus 7, and these cannot be combined. However, multiplication and division, you can multiply or divide anything as long as you're only multiplying the things that are alike. Something else you need to watch out for is that plus and minus signs. So if you have a 3 outside of parentheses being multiplied by the stuff inside parentheses, make sure you do what's called distribute. You've got to distribute that 3 to both things inside parentheses. Now, when you multiply, let's skip over before we do that one and let's do number 4. When you're multiplying, you only combine the things that are alike. So here, 3x to the 4th and 4x to the 7th. The things that are alike here are the 3 and a 4. Multiply it together gives you 12. Then you need to know a basic rule of exponents. To multiply x to the 4th and x to the 7th, which are alike, they both have x's, x to the 4th and x to the 7th, you're going to combine those by adding the x's together. That gives you a total of 11 x's. So 3 times 4 is 12, x to the 4th times x to the 7th is x to the 11th. Doing the same thing here, to multiply 3 times 2x, only multiply the things that are like. 3 times 2 is 6, and the only x you have is 1, so leave it alone. And then 3 times a negative 5, that minus goes with a 5, would be a negative 15, and those are not like terms. You cannot subtract them now, okay? Skipping over to number 3, division works the same way. Again, always spot that plus or minus sign. So you have 2 terms on top, both of them being divided by 3. You have a 6x divided by 3 and also a 9 divided by 3. So we're going to distribute that 3 to both just like we did in the previous problem. Division works the same as multiplication. You can divide anything as long as you're only dividing the things that are alike. You're only combining the things that are alike. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Leave the x alone. Plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. Final answer, 2x plus 3. And again, they are not alike, so they cannot be combined. Can't add, subtract. Now, these are called, a lot of teachers call them FOIL problems. What I'm teaching is it's just like this distributive property. We're going to take 3x and we're going to multiply it by both of these. Notice the plus and minus signs, the reason we have to do this. 3x first off times 2x. 3 times 2 is 6. Then you count your x's, combine them. X and x gives you a total of 2x's, or x squared. Then 3x times negative 1. We're only combining the negative 1 and 3, which gives you the negative 3. We leave the x alone. We're done with a 3x. We're doing the same thing with a 4 now. 4 times 2x gives you a total of 8x, and 4 times negative 1 gives you a negative 4. Now, once you get to this part, we're adding, subtracting now, so we're only combine the like terms. So it gives you 6x squared, a negative 3x, and a positive 8x. When you put them together, it gives you a positive 5x, and then you have the minus 4, which combines with nothing. Okay, let's also go through and remind you of some more rules of exponents. Again, notice there's no plus or minus signs here, so like things can be combined. So 15, we have division here. 15 divided by 15 divided by 3 gives you 5. And then to divide exponents, x to the 10th and x to the 4th, in order to divide exponents, we simply subtract them. 10x is on top, 4x is on bottom, leaves me a total of 6x's. And notice I put the x's on top. Let's take a look at this second problem. It's a little bit different. Doing the exact same thing, though, with a 10 and 20. Now, notice that there's more on bottom. This is actually a regular fraction, so instead of dividing this, we're actually going to reduce the fraction. 10 over 20. Again, notice I'm not worrying about the x's yet. When you reduce that, it gives you a 1 on top and a 2 on bottom, 1/2. Now, I teach this slightly different. Anytime you have more x's on bottom than you do on top, we are still going to subtract. However, you're going to be left with x's on bottom when you subtract them. So when I subtract 9 minus 2, I simply put that since there's more on bottom, I put my x to the 7th on bottom. There's your final answer. Negative exponents work in this way. Anytime you have a negative exponent, in order to make that negative exponent positive, you simply move it across a fraction bar. Notice I created a fraction bar there. When I move 2 to the negative 3 to the bottom, it becomes 2 to the positive 3. Anytime there's nothing left, we always put a 1. So you can leave your answer like that, or you could actually multiply 2 times 2 times 2. That gives you 1/8. Then the final answer, notice 2 combines with nothing, so we're going to leave the 2 alone. The x to the negative 3, we're moving to the top with these x's. There's 5 x's on top. When you move x to the negative 3 on top, it becomes x to the positive 3. Then you combine it like before. 5 and 3, we're now multiplying them together. So that's going to, in order to multiply exponents, you add them together. So that gives me a total of 2x to the 8th, and that's your final answer.